Oh shit! What's up, everybody? RVD FPV here.
Right, okay, here we are today, guys, having a quick sort of interview slash podcast with Ryan, who joins us from Cape Town. Ryan, thanks for taking a break from the skies to join us today. How you doing, man? Hope you're good.
I'm well, bro. Thank you so much for having me. I'm looking forward to jumping into some of these questions.
All right, excellent, excellent. So one of the things that I sort of want to capture is that, of course, we're a global community. Everyone's sort of everywhere. If you could just tell us a little bit about just Cape Town, where you're at, and sort of attitudes towards FPV and what you experience when you're out there sending, basically.
Well, from South Africa, Cape Town, South Africa. The community is pretty small this side. There's a little bit of a racing community and stuff. The freestyle community is not as big and diverse as kind of what we're dealing with on the international sector here. There's not so many people doing any sort of guerrilla whipping as much. Freestyle flying of like urban nature is somewhat frowned upon. So it's trying to break that stereotype a bit, you know, and bring it forth. Like, we got some really good pilots, so it'd be cool to see them jumping out and you know, like wearing a flag proudly, so to say.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Ah, that's really interesting. So again, just having a look at your profile again, I had you send forward before this. You say you pretty much fly anything with 4 motors, which is great. So there's not much to add there. But like, talk to me about your daily driver. So I think you've been flying the Air 65 race lately with your guerrilla whooping.
Yeah, I got the Air 65 like recently. I think I might have killed that board.
That means you used it though, right? You know, if you know, yeah, you were flying.
Yeah, from the day I got it, I'll be flying that thing so hard, dude. Like it's an amazing bind and fly for like what you pay for it, straight out the box. Like usually I'm quite heavy on like going into tuning and like just getting the quad as dialed in as well. But it's one of the first bind and flies I've kind of actually got. I usually just build the quad up from parts. And I wanted to see what factory settings were or factory tune was, you know, and I was very surprised, like, to be honest with you, I was very surprised. It was quite dialed in and it was great. I mean, I flew stock rates for a while. I mean, I only changed them maybe like 2 weeks ago to like where I mixed everything up, but it's like it flew great. I had a great time because I mean I'm running high kV motors on that, and I've been limited to the 19,500s, which they're great on a 75mm. On a 65, not so much, at least in my opinion.
Yeah.
And I've been running really shit packs, so
Fair enough.
Yeah, so but I'd have to say my daily drive is probably like the 75mm. It's basically also a Beta FPV board. I think a 4-in-1. I got a Zeus Nano VTX on there. I'm about to actually put 23,000 kV motors on there. Finally got a pair. Nice. So that's actually gonna boost that probably more into that 65 range feeling.
No, absolutely, man. But no, on the Air 65. Yeah, it was the first analog drone that I bought because I started off with a DJI. I just bought the DJI Fly No More set because it had the goggles and I wanted to go digital. So it had the goggles and the controller, but obviously it has its limitations, and the Air 65 was the first analog drone that I picked up, and since then I've flown like the Mobula and a few others, but the Air 65 is just it's right in the middle. Let's say if you have like the Hummingbird race spec and like the Mobula 2026, it's right in the middle of there between like the power that it has and how locked in it feels and just my ability to fly it, because some of the other drones like the race spec I couldn't fly when I first got it because it was just too much going on with the 30 kV motors. But yeah,
like I can't really choose on a size right now, especially in the tiny whip sector. I've only been flying tiny whips kind of for just over a year now. Right. I must be honest, I was a little bit biased towards them in the beginning, probably because I didn't have the right spec parts for it. Like when they first started, they were a little bit pup, so to speak. I mean, coming from flying 5-inch and 7-inch drones, you got to understand like, what I mean by that, you know. So I didn't give it enough of a chance to truly like see the potential. So I was just kind of like, no, because I mean, there's nothing quite like a 5-inch power loop. The throttle range on a 5-inch is just something very different.
Yeah, no, I'm with you.
But saying
Go on,
that,
sorry.
it's like the new tiny whoops and stuff that are out now with the new motors and all the updated ARs it's just madness, dude. It's like I'm having so much fun. It's like I've been flying my 5-inch so much less. I'm not very proud of that. It's just it's a lot easier. It's very convenient. You know, we're coming in at also like, you know, the 65 is like something ridiculous at like what 17 something grams, you know, like, or under 30 with the battery and all that shit. And it's like it's ridiculous, dude. I mean, my 85mm, which is a 2S, it's like with the battery is under 90 grams. You know, it's a 3D printed ABS frame and stuff. So like it's just so light, and that's got power. That's got way more power on the 2S. Like, it's actually I'd like to make that the daily driver. You know, it's not as conducive to flying inside, but maybe it's just a matter of stick time.
I'd say it's almost always a matter of stick time, dude. I think nothing's impossible. That's the one thing I've learned with this hobby, because I couldn't imagine flying a drone inside when I first started, you know what I mean? And now I'm doing it all of the time. I'm not bouncing off the walls, so yeah, always a matter of stick time.
Yeah,
Nah,
dude.
cool. No,
Shout
that's awesome.
out to Blix for he got me flying inside, bro. Like, I watched him flying in his bedroom, and I was like, no, they get out of here. Like, I watched his clips again and again. I'm like, how on earth? Like, how? I'm just like, I'm looking at my little tiny there, and I'm like, just we having this moment, you know? Like,
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, we're gonna do this, you know? Me and you, we're gonna do this. Like,
I felt the same way when I saw it, because he was doing the power loop through the ring on his ceiling and matting through it. I was like, Jesus Christ.
I was like, what? I mean, because you got to
Crazy,
be
man.
honest, like, I got mad respect to the tiny whip racers. I mean, all racers and all other pilots. I got respect for everyone, you know. It's like all skill levels, all skill sets. Like, it doesn't matter what style you're flying, and I have respect for all the pilots out there. You know, as long as you've got respect for everybody else, you know, then it's great. But flying inside, okay, at speed, while still doing extreme acrobatic maneuvers, okay, is a skill set. It really is a skill set, because there's no time to think. I started with the PVC little setup and pushing myself, and it's like, there's this point where you get into, and it's I feel like it's just pure flow. You're not thinking of like what to do. It's just natural response and reaction to like moving in that space. And I think that's just, you know, proximity flying with tiny whoops and stuff inside, especially when you're going full tilt. These things still move a decent amount of speed, especially now we're throwing extra KV motors on. It's an art, dude. I got mad respect for the guys that are doing the RG Go stuff. Hopefully I want to get an entry in one of those maybe sometime, start doing a little bit more like racing and having a little bit more fun on that sector. But there's some guys that are they're just so good, man. So fast.
Yeah, no, it's impressive to see. I think especially with because you mentioned higher KV motors, and it's that's the one thing that I'm not struggling with, but it's the one thing that I'm learning. It's with all drones, but particularly with the smaller drones, like basically using that upper end of the throttle and kind of punching it, because if you're using the higher end of the throttle, it's going to be faster, but you have more control and the drone is more responsive, right? And then I find that like I find myself swaying into the walls when I'm taking corners, because I'm bringing the throttle down and then having to turn and redirect and then put it back up. But actually, if you're confident enough to just ride the throttle and to keep it going in one direction, yeah, it's a really good feeling, and it's not something I've mastered indoors yet, but
Yeah, I mean,
it's nice.
from how I imagine it, because I'm no racer, like suck at racing on the sim. I need to sit. I have never really given it an honest go, if I must be honest. I just fly freestyle, and I've worked on flow for many years, and it's now I'm starting to work on throwing tricks into that, because I don't really believe that tricks are cool and stuff, but if you can't move from one trick to another, or like fly continuously in the manner that you're trying to, it's like, what's the point? You know, we can all do a flip, we can all do a roll. But how you throw these combinations into each other really matter, you know, and that's what equals flow. And I think that's where the skill set of a pilot and the stick time really start to show, because it's like that's, you know, you only get that from flying in the real, again, pack after pack after pack after pack, and there's a lot of crashes that happen, you know. But to touch back on what we were talking about in terms of like racing and things, it's how I imagine it is kind of a bit more like drifting, you know, drifting a car. There's a certain like power band ratio that you when you're sliding through, you're still on the throttle, you know, and whether you're feathering it or you actually just completely mashing through it because you need to get as much traction as you can, I'd imagine it to be much like that, because at least that's what it sounds like when I watch the guys racing and stuff, because I love tuning and stuff, and you can hear the drone. There's like a type of scream that it has, and it only comes from when you are high throttle running that thing, you know. So I would love to check it out. But yeah, you're 100% right. Like it's full commitment when you're racing. You know, you just got to send it.
Just to kick off with the first question, what moment made FPV click for you? What made you decide that this was the thing for you?
I think it was like back in 2017. I was flying like DJI drones, like I've still got my Phantom 4 and stuff, and I started watching Steel and how he would just like freestyle these like urban like parking lots and stuff, and I was just like, this is absolute crazy madness, you know. And that's all I wanted to do. Like all I wanted to do was be able to completely like have that control of maneuverability through like time and space in a place, like, and that was FPV, you know. That's what it was. Ever since, it took me a while, because here in South Africa it's like we don't have the greatest access to parts and stuff like the rest of the world. Only now recently has our international shipping and things started actually working really well, and so it was a bit of a struggle, you know. It was quite a struggle in the beginning, so it took a lot longer to get things going, at least for myself, especially with life and everything else. So it's, yeah, man, I think, yeah, around that time I was like, yeah, this is what I want to do, and it's just, I haven't looked back.
And with that then, how would you say that your hobby, like if you were to compare yourself to that version of Ryan before FPV, how has FPV sort of changed the way that you see the world, or even yourself?
Jeez, that's a good question, eh? Well, for starters, it's like my technical ability. So in terms of repairing, building, FPV brought into my life 3D printing, which essentially led me to CNCing now as well. You know, going through building my own 3D printer and building my own CNC machine and stuff, it's like I've gathered so much information and know-how on fabrication and just so many different facets of this. There's so much in a drone, you know, in all of its components and stuff, if we want to break it down into like its mechanics and its understanding and all of this, which is, I believe is quite important. I feel like I'm a bit of a geek in that sense. I like all the info.
Yeah, no, you need it.
If you know your hardware, you know how you can push the limits, you know what it's capable of doing, and you know like what you can get the most out of it. That's what I truly believe. So I think it's revolutionized my life completely, and it's brought all of the healthiest possible things into my life. Every day I'm learning new things, I'm challenging myself in these respected categories, and it's keeping me away from going to the party on the weekend in the bar every other day and stuff. Like I don't drink actually, but it's you know, I used to party and stuff many years ago. It keeps me living a really good life, honest life, and I'm happy with that, you know. Like, so to me, FPV has brought everything for me. It's revolutionized everything.
No, that's really good to hear. I definitely feel similarly about it, and I think it's probably the same for a lot of pilots. I think there's no better motivator than learning a new skill, or learning or picking up a soldering iron, than getting and keeping your quad in the air, basically. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
I think,
that's it. That's it. Keeping your quad in the air. That's like, I honestly feel like, yes, skill flying and all of that is great, but like a true measure is also like the repair side. You know, it's like you go out there and you fly because you can fly harder because you know if you break something, you're more than likely able to fix it, depending on what the damage is. You know, there's just some fatalities that we have to endure in this life.
No, absolutely. I think you hit the nail on the head.
Yeah, it's like I see all the time, you know, beginners posting their little loose motor cable that's come off and they freaking out. And I'm just like, you know, it was so long ago. Like, I've never been like that. I've always been kind of tech savvy. I've been able to take things apart and solder and do stuff. My grandfather taught me that at a young age. He was an electrician. So yeah, it's like I've always had somewhat of a know how to do things, but obviously until I got into FPV, I really refined. It really brought all of that back out and refined it. And it's people are so afraid, you know, to grab a soldering iron and just like try and fix this thing. Like I remember using these fat tips, bro, like these massive fat tips when I started, like, you know, those like, and I would like be shaking and I would literally just wipe off like the whole top layer, like off one of those like little ESC things. Like I just like wipe it all away and I'd just be like, oh shit.
That's brutal.
I guess
that sounds like me last
I
week,
guess
to
that
be
one's
honest.
done. Like,
Oh yes.
so it's, yeah, I mean, trial by fire, you know, just grab it, go fix it. You know, it sucks when you break something that was working. That one hurts the most, but it's necessary. I feel it's necessary. It makes you a better pilot in the end.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think, yeah, what you said is so true. And especially around just having the confidence, knowing that you can fix it however it breaks, that, you know, yeah, it gives you the confidence to fly and push boundaries. And, you know, sometimes it happens to us. We go out and like we fly one pack and maybe if you're lucky on that, you crash on the second pack and then you have to go home. You know what I mean? But yeah, it's if you're familiar and you're confident with that side of building, you're not worried about going home. You're like, oh, I've got some repairs and upgrades to do anyway. Let's get on the workbench, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah, no, that's
you're like, oh yeah, I'm gonna slap those new motors on now, like fucking.
Yeah, no, exactly. Okay, awesome. So with that in mind, then, you know, when you're out there and you're about to, whether you're hitting up Cape Town or you're hitting up the trees in the forest, do you have any sort of pre-flight rituals, anything that you do to help your quad stay in the air or to keep you calm when you're flying, anything like that?
This one's a tough one because I don't know, I get super amped sometimes, and you know when you get super amped to fly, like you tend to fly a little bit stupid. Let's just term it like that, you know.
I'm with you.
So yeah, I try to just kind of, for me, the one thing is like I try to just take notes of the wind, you know, whenever I go to a spot or whatever. Like I'll stand there for a few minutes and I'll just actually close my eyes and just feel kind of like how the wind is moving around, you know, and I build that kind of subconsciously like in, because I live in a very windy place, like we're known as the Windy City out here. So it's especially with the tinies and things like that. So it affects how I fly outside quite a lot. So I try and base certain objects and things that I'm going to fly around based off of the wind direction. So it helps me like with or down or whatever the case is based on whatever I'm trying to do. So I just try and build more environmental awareness, I guess, you know. It just helps me relax a little bit, and you actually end up just like, I feel like it's, ever since I've really been doing this, I've been able to kind of just from the first pack almost get straight into flying, you know, like, so.
Good. No, that's solid. No, I can appreciate that. And so with that, then you've mentioned checking the wind and you know, situational awareness of your surroundings. How do you then decide when a send is worth the risk? You know, I saw your most recent video. You ended up doing a loop of the tourist bus in Cape Town, which I think is quite interesting. So like, yeah, how do you decide if it's worth the risk? Should you do it? Should you not? That sort of thing.
Oh, you know, like that one specifically, kind of, that was pure moments. Like I was literally just flying around and like I saw the bus there and I was just like, there's not much traffic, or like, you know, and it's like if there was an opportunity to kind of do this, like, and mitigate the risk as much as possible, this would be it. So I kind of just ran with it, you know. It wasn't truly intentional in that object, but yeah, I'm glad that it worked out well. You know, this is also another thing. It's like when you build your quads and you know you get to a point where you're confident in what you're doing, it's like you can trust your equipment. You know, like there's obviously all sorts of things that can go wrong in that. So I'm not saying like just go and do whatever you want to do, like, but if you know that your stuff's working, and you know, like if you, even in that video, like I was really not that far away from myself. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's like there were a lot of things that I'd already kind of like in the moment evaluated and made that split decision, and was like, okay, cool, this is a risk that is worth taking because there's the least amount of things that could potentially go wrong here. You know, I kind of evaluated based on that. I generally go and fly the city and stuff like that, either early hours in the morning or later hours in the afternoon. So it mitigates the traffic and like just people, foot traffic and all of that type of thing. Obviously, lately I have been leaning into my guerrilla a little bit more, and kind of trying to, you know, just fly more casually around kind of like more people-based environments, like in a more relaxed way, because I am quite a chaotic flyer. Like I really enjoy that. Like, and it's obviously not very easy for everyone to understand, but yeah.
Yeah. No, I'm with you, man. That's really cool. And I think you touched on something interesting there, which again I feel like I relate to and a lot of people could, and it's just around opportunity. And I think it's one of my favorite things about the hobbies. And it's why I think, especially when I first started, it was hard to leave the house without like at least an Air 65, a pocket, and like a couple of packs in my bag, because God knows where I'm going, but like there's going to be the opportunity for something. And it's amazing, you know, sometimes you're already in the air and yeah, something pops up, and yeah, it's and it's a really interesting perspective. So I love that aspect of the hobby, and sort of how you touched on it there. No, it's really good. What does sending mean to you? So I guess that's more philosophical, but yeah, what does sending mean to you exactly?
I mean, sheesh. I think there's the general like send it term, you know, like where it's just like, it's more of like a motivated kind of like, yeah, bro, go do it, you know, like give it your best. But then there's those other moments where I guess like maybe you're flying with some other pilots and like everyone's vibing and everyone's edging each other on, and it's like maybe there's someone set a goal, or like they've seen something and we're like edging each other on to nail that. And it's like there's that send it term where it's full commitment, you know, just do it, go. Like, don't worry about the repercussions of the crash or whatever, like nail the trick, like let's go, you know. And I think that's more of what I mean in terms of send it. When I say that to people, I'm like, go, like don't think, do.
Absolutely. Nah, I'm with you. Solid. Oh, no, that's good. No, I like that. So what I want to do now, it's we'll see if our internet connection allows us to do it, because it's been pretty good so far, but we're about to add more stuff. I just wanted to have a quick view of the video that you submitted, and let's see. Is that coming through all right for you?
Yeah.
Might be.
I love this shit, dude. Yeah, I love this shit.
It's just really impressive. The
flow
is just absolutely relentless.
This only got another kind of flow, bro. I could only aspire to get to this type of like connection with the 5-inch quad. Remember, this is also like, this is a big quad, you know? Like,
yeah. Oops, sorry. Let me turn it down a little bit. Yeah, it's, for me, it's again, it's the type of stuff that makes you really want to get into FPV, and you know,
dude.
you pick up a quad for the first time and you realize, I mean, just here, like I didn't know if he touched the ceiling or the floor, you know what I mean? And it's just
yeah,
like
100%, dude. And again, like, come on. Oh, bro.
that's the first thing that's sort of
But this is
go on, sorry,
mad respect, dude, because it's like, This homie's got skill, bro. This is stick time. This is like dedication to the craft, you know? Like,
Yeah,
yeah,
no,
dude.
it's amazing. It's you almost don't, and it's the same thing when I look at some of these races. And you mentioned it earlier, just the situational awareness. Like, how many times did they fly this spot? You know what I mean? And it doesn't really matter, but it's like it's as you mentioned, that stick time, that practice. Is it their first time at the spot? Do they just understand it?
Yeah,
And
like
I've
I mean,
seen,
bro,
you know,
this definitely not his first time at the spot, like, you know. And I mean, if it was, like, fuck me. You know, like obviously I have no idea, but from what I've seen on his other stuff, I think he comes there quite often. But yeah, this is just, bro, regardless of how, if you'd been here 1,000 times and like practicing this line, you know, that's the raw execution alone. It's just like, come on, big power loops, like to like switch into like Maddie back through the hole. Like, bro, what? You know, it's concrete is the most unforgiving thing to fly with a 5-inch, like, especially at that momentum. Note the momentum that he had through basically every single one of those moves, bro. He wasn't doing them slowly. Like, he was literally like, that quad was probably like cruising like 40, 50, maybe 60, generally like around most of that time that he was moving through all of those spaces. Now you must understand that that's really fast, you know, like, so that's precision, dude, and it's a commitment. You can see like that is pure commitment. Like, he was committed 1,000% into everything that he went for, you know. And I feel like that in the beginning of FPV, like that's like this big gray area, like where your skill and your stick time like keep hitting this roof, and you're like, you know, I can't go through there because you don't commit, because you've crashed so many times now. You're like, shit, I'm just gonna crash again. But until you actually go through that mental barrier and you like, you know, and you do your first big throttle punch and you make it back through the gap and you're like, okay, you do it again and you do it, you know. It's like maybe you do it a third time, but you're coming in now at like, you know, like Newton's third angle there, and you crash, but you realize something. You realize that there is an angle, there's a momentum, there's a flow, you know, and it's, the limitation is in your mind a lot of the time. Of course, stick time and all of that is very important. Throttle control is, without throttle controls, it's, nothing works. And then you might as well go fly like a Maverick or like, you know, something like that, because that's the equivalent. Without knowing throttle control, that's what you have.
Yeah, no, it was a really good video. No, I hadn't seen it before, and I hadn't seen this pilot before, so definitely thanks for sharing that. I think, again, it goes back to what you were saying earlier. You know, you're never going to fly like that if you're afraid of breaking the quad, right? So,
Yeah,
or being afraid to go pick it up.
like straight up, dude. How many quads do you think Data has killed? I'm pretty sure.
Man, like,
He's ended a couple motors, a couple boards, many a camera. I'm pretty sure he was probably maybe flying Analog. So I'm not, you know, like, don't quote me on this.
yeah.
Like, you guys must go check his page out, like, share, subscribe. That guy's fucking mad, dude. Mad.
You mentioned, you know, whether or not he was flying analog or digital there, and I think we got to ask the question: analog versus digital, which would you choose and why?
Fucking Analog forever. You understand? Analog is king, and I say this with full-fledged allegiance. And you know why? It's like, because it's like digital has given so much hate to analog, and I can't understand why, because without analog there would be nothing. He is built off the backbone of analog. Simple facts. So all the people that are jumping in and have never gone through analog and don't know what it's like to fly with a little bit of static and stuff like that, it's like amazing, great. You get to see in HD and stuff. Not that I think it helps dramatically that much when you're moving at such speeds in space and stuff, but like, I really don't think your brain's processing 60 frames a second it's great to be able to record that and not have to use a GoPro and stuff from like a 5-inch and stuff. I do think that that is really great, saving some weight, getting some extra maneuverability out of your craft, like great. But
Yeah.
for me, firstly, it's very expensive, okay? Like if I had to go and I'll try and convert all my analog quads and stuff to HD, like I'm gonna be digging one deep grave for my wallet and just burying it there for a while. So it doesn't make sense. And what I've seen a lot is like people go to HD and then it affects the way they fly because now they don't want to send it. And for me, I can't think of anything worse than to have your quad now and then you don't want to fly it. You don't want to, like, I guess that's just the way I fly. I'm always trying to push my own personal barrier and what I think I can do and how to fly. But yeah, it's like people are so afraid to crash, and obviously things cost money and stuff. But if that's the case, then like why buy an expensive thing, you know? Unless your intent is literally just to fly it like cruising and do that, you know, then cool. But for me it's analog all the way. Analog all the way. Like,
Yeah.
come on. Who really does
I'm
not mind a little bit of static there? You know what I'm saying? Like it's so...
I think,
I don't know.
but the static isn't even really that bad in a lot of cases. You know what I mean? It's not
it's
that
getting
bad,
really
and not
good.
just that, but it's really, really good. And so, to be honest, I record some stuff, and because I was I've got the new DVRs, so I know they've sort of come back into popularity, I guess, the analog DVRs. I've got a run cam one that I'm using for a larger drone, and I've got the newbie drone one. And I was looking, I was just in the house, but I was looking at the difference between what the DVR recorded and what my what the onboard DVR recorded and what my goggles recorded, and it wasn't that different, you know, across this distance, which is, you know, it's maybe about 20 meters, but like, yeah, it looked really, really good, man.
Yeah.
But I definitely agree. The digital is way too expensive. I fly a couple of O4 Pro drones, and the O4 Pro, for example, is really, like, it's really, really good, you know? And when you talk about digital, usually you're talking about DJI because they are the best in digital. Yeah, but the O4 Pros are so fragile. They're so fragile. And because of that, you know, my favorite to fly, always to fly the 2.5 inch that I have. Yeah, like sometimes I get a little bit iffy with it because I know if it hits a tree at the wrong angle, something's, you know, I'm going to need to send the O4 Pro back to DJI, basically.
Yeah, man. I
But
mean,
yeah,
that just
it's
like,
why I don't fly it.
that just sounds so terrible. You know, like now while you're flying, you're stressing about like, oh shit, if I kind of crash wrong, like we're losing the O4 or something. I know, like when I fly my quad, it's like we can crash and we can lose a component or something. Like that's a given. Already, I've accepted that.
Yeah.
But you move past it and you go like, cool, I'm here to fly. So that's the object. So that's why I'm spending the money in the first place to get the quad in the air.
Yeah. No, it's very true. Very, very true. Okay. Next question, simple one. Have you ever yelled at a tree?
I have most certainly yelled at a tree. I've also begged and pleaded a tree. I believe I've hugged a tree after retrieving a drone and not killing myself on this little branch. Like I was speaking to the tree. I was like, listen, buddy, please, I need to just take one more step. Okay, the branch is getting, you know, like we at like the top of the tree, and you know I heard one or two creaks and cracks there, but it was enough to get the drone down. Like, so yeah, I've had communications with the tree. I guess we can put it down, like, you know.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's good to commune with nature, and I think that's what part of sending is. You know what I mean? You gotta commune with nature. Nah, that's funny.
That's it, man.
No, it's cool. If FPV had a rule book, right? What rule would you add?
Oof, if we had a rule, I think it's like there should be a rule that you shouldn't rush the beginning processes. And why I say this is because I believe that knowledge really is power, especially in this case. You don't need to be all geeky and know every scientific approach and mechanical nature and stuff, but having a really good understanding of your aircraft is a really good thing. Having a decent understanding of voltage and just your batteries is a very good thing, because you need to be maintaining your lipos correctly. If you need to learn how to maintain your lipos correctly, it's probably better if you just watch a video also explaining to you the exact breakdown of what a lipo is, how it works, and just to have. You don't need to go and now study it, but just watch it, understand, because I see a lot of beginners struggling with basic fundamental understandings that if they had taken the time to just research their parts and know what an ESC is or what a motor is and all of these things, they would easily be able to navigate the very dynamic range of getting into FPV, because there is a lot of stuff.
Yeah, no, that's good. That's good advice. I think there is, as you say, there is a lot of stuff. It's really interesting because let's just say that FPV comes under the banner of drones, right? And within drones, I think if we're looking at the wider society, drones on its own is kind of its own subculture. Some people know a little bit about drones, but usually not a lot. And then within FPV, within drones, you have FPV, and within FPV, you have gorillas, right? So you have subculture within a subculture within this drone. And within that, you have people who specialize in tiny whoops, people who specialize in VTX or goggle mods. I saw somebody creating their own night vision goggle. There's so many little areas to specialize. People who aren't good pilots who are amazing builders. And I think it's as you're saying, I think people see the cool things like the videos that we just watched, and they want to go out there and be really cool pilots. And I think it's good for people to be inspired that way, but then they miss out on the actually, this pilot, it's probably
the real core
he can fly
of what
because he's a good builder,
Yeah. Right.
Exactly.
I think all FPV pilots are technicians at heart, because there's a lot of diagnostics constantly going on, in a sense, with your quads. It's you can have your quads working one session and maybe fly one pack, you don't even fly. You just literally do one kind of orbit around. You realize, now I'm not really actually keen to fly right now. You put it down and you come to fly the next morning and nothing works. There's these very strange anomalies that do actually occur with drones for some reason, and I think it's all tech, but specifically with drones, it's the only thing that I've ever put down working, come back to, and it didn't work. So fault finding is quite a beautiful thing. It's definitely an underrated kind of skill that you started attaining from FPV.
Yeah, no, I'd agree. It's funny you said that, because sometimes I put the drone down hoping that it works tomorrow when it's broken now, so it can go in the other direction.
Yeah, it'd be good if it could work that way.
Oh, mate. It's happened sometimes with some of these 04 air units, because it's sometimes a bit of water or grass gets in, it needs some time to dry. I'll check on it tomorrow, Digital systems, there you go. Right, okay, so that takes me to sort of the next question, because, we're talking about all of the things that sort of make up FPV, the building, the flying, the troubleshooting, or being an engineer. If FPV was illegal tomorrow, what would you do instead?
FPV.
That's such a good answer. Absolutely. Absolutely.
I cannot confirm or deny. But flying would be done nonetheless. I'd be honest with you, I'm not doing anything wrong. I know I'm not doing anything wrong. Sure, I've dived a couple buildings in the city with my tiny whoop, and if that deems me as a criminal, then so be it, Yeah. But I've done it in a way that I've mitigated risk as best as possible, and I had control of my aircraft at all times. It's I don't see it as, even if it became illegal, that I would still be doing anything wrong. There's people that are drinking and driving every day and doing God knows what other stuff out there, So in relation to that, it's, I'm literally just taking my little toy and ripping it in the sky, It's
Yeah, no. Absolutely. You know, I can get behind that, definitely. I didn't expect that answer, but it's true. You just keep flying your drone, man, you know? Like, you're not bothering anybody. So, like, what do you want, you know? So, yeah, no, that's I feel the same way. No, good man. Okay, and next question, last question in this section. If your drone had feelings, we'll say the Air 65 in this case. If it had feelings, what would it say about you?
It would probably be on the lines of like he's very aggressive and he's quite abusive. Doesn't allow much relaxation time. It's just like one battery out, one battery in, like full throttle, no voltage left. Like he's so I expect a very, very high standard from my drones. You know, they need to perform at all times. When they don't perform, I'm highly disappointed. Highly disappointed.
Yeah.
You know, like the 5-inch has been benched for at least a week just out of pure rage. Just pure rage. Like it should have flown, but he just decided, nah. And I was like, right, shouldn't it be like that? I'll put you on the shelf.
Yeah.
You check. We'll take the tines out.
Yeah. No, exactly. No, I'm with you. Good man. Good man. All right, solid. It's been quite a good session talking to you and going through these questions, so thanks again. But really quick fire round, answer as quickly as you can. Here we go, right? Soldering, love or hate?
Love.
Of course. You know, if you had to choose indoor or outdoor?
Like flying. Yo, that's a hard one because you got to dive a building from the outside. So, sheesh. It's mathematically not equating for me. I'm like, wait. I'd probably have to say, I'd have to, in that context, I'd have to say outside then. But I do enjoy flying urbanly, which does kind of bridge the gap between flying outside and inside because you're kind of flying underneath objects and stuff. So, yeah.
Some spaces are both, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like a mall is both outside and inside, you know, in a way. So,
yeah, there's enough space for that thing.
Good
So
point.
it's like, it's questionable.
Yeah. No, it's very, very good point. So you got one pack left. Are you ripping or are you cruising?
If I can, I'll send it. Hard.
Send it, absolutely. Rip. Good man. So whilst you fly, do you listen to music or are you silent when you're out there flying?
Mainly I'm silent. I don't really listen to music that much, especially if I'm kind of like guerrilla whipping and I'm just by myself. So it's it's not as cohesive to do that. Like you're already blind.
No,
so now you don't really want to cut yourself off for the rest of the world. But I have flown with music sometimes. I do enjoy it. I'm not partially prone to having to put music on or anything. I like to focus a little bit more. And I kind of feel that the music can be a little bit distracting because the flow doesn't necessarily come from music. It comes from you interacting with your environment, at least in the way I do my things. I kind of try and give all my senses to when I'm flying. So when I'm there, it's like I'm more environmentally sound. I feel like if I'm hearing my surroundings and stuff, I can also kind of hear the quad when it's close enough and things. And it's all just aids to being able to fly in my environment better. But not opposed to music, you know?
Yeah. No, I'm with you. I find it's kind of as you're saying, especially when I've gone out flying and then I've gone into to edit my videos, I find that there's always this natural rhythm to things, you know, that you don't necessarily need music for, as you said, because you're kind of moving in the environment. You definitely need your ears flying. A lot of the times, like I've armed the quad and I've heard something in the propellers as opposed to seen it, you know what I mean? And so it's like, oh, I should disarm or check it out, or, you know, that makes sense. So next question, bi-blades or tri-blades for your propellers?
I'd have to say tri-blades overall. I run tri-blades on 99% of everything, except for when it comes to tiny whips. I have recently I was running bi-blades on my 75mm, and
cool.
It's because it's all I had at the time. So like I ran with it, and I kind of it works for the slightly lower kV motors that I have. I find that it's like, you know, it just kind of it worked really well, and I couldn't really argue with it. But before I used a bar blade once on my 5-inch and it just broke, and I was like, never again. So like, yeah, I'm more prone to tri blades. I enjoy the traction. I enjoy the traction that they give. I like that kind of sticky feel from the quad. If I put the sticks in one way, I want it to go that way, so
Yeah.
it's, yeah.
I agree. More traction with tri-blades. I've been experimenting with bi-blades, but it's mostly I've been trying them on the really high kV motors on the whoops, and they feel a little bit better in some scenarios. But yeah, you just
Yeah,
gotta
because I mean the
experiment.
high kV on a bar blade is it's generating almost like, don't quote me on the science here, but it's like it's easier to spin, so it's more efficient, right? It's like, but now because of the high
Right.
kV motor is also spinning it way more faster, like it's generating a significant amount of thrust. So it's like with the tries, it's like there's an extra propeller which is more drag, even though which is more resistance on the stator and stuff. So you got to use more energy to propel it at that, but you also now generating significantly more thrust. So it's like, I believe there's like a cool trade-off with kind of spinning bar blades really quickly, like, and then still like achieving like a kind of an extra bit of like thrust to traction while still maintaining an efficiency on the motor itself, because it's not going to be stressing the motor out as much.
Ah, that makes sense actually. Ah, cool. And last question, right? So the police are at your door. Ryan, give us the DVR now. Are you gonna show it all, or are you gonna hide it? Are you deleting all of your DVR, all of your recorded videos, or are you gonna show it?
So the only way they're getting in the pause is with like one of those raw hammers, and then they'll find me there at the microwave, and the hard drives will be just going. And I'll be like, can't catch me now.
Nice. The microwave. I gotta remember that one. That's hilarious.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Gorilla to the
It would
end,
have to be
boys.
the same for me. Good man, good man. All right, solid. No, that's really, really good. Really good answers. And yeah, definitely appreciate you for taking part and coming through. You're the first interview as well, so we're dealing with some technical issues and stuff, so that's really good. Again, I appreciate your help with everything getting in. Unless there's anything else you'd like to just mention, a message from you to the community or anything like that, then yeah, we can wrap up the interview.
I mean, I don't have too much to say, but yeah, just everyone have fun, be respectful, like be respectful. I think that's one of the biggest messages I'd want to say, because this community is based on respect and uplifting each other and not bringing each other down, regardless of skill level, flying sets, how many followers or likes or views you get. Like, that doesn't, if you have a really large following, it doesn't mean that you can now be an absolute dickhead to the rest of the community, So it's just little things like this. I think these are the most important things. We all uplift each other. We all pushing to get better and push the boundary in our own ways and stuff. And we all supportive of that. We're not trying to break each other down.
Yeah, no, that's a good message, and I definitely agree with that. Well, yeah, well, dudes, thank you very much. And yeah, I guess I'll see you online or in the skies. Thanks, Ryan.
Bless, brother.